doing?
I am well. How are you? My goodness, you look super happy.
Super happy. I was just telling Megan, I can't do this without you both. I can never thank you both enough. But I know I'm just going to go into the reason why we're here because my co-host, she's getting married. Christina's getting married. Mwah. Congratulations to you. And the show's not the same without you. And especially as I am getting ready to cross a threshold for a year anniversary for the robotic gastric bypass that I had. And my two angels that I owe everything to, they are here and they are General Surgeon Dr. Rob Catania and PA Megan DeSantis, who just changed my life. And you changed my life because now there's this community and I've been running to my phone, doing workouts. I'm at the gym. I work out at the gym. I have a treadmill at home. I have a stairmaster somewhere behind me. I have other things. So it's been crazy. And I think, Dr. Katani, you had told me a switch will be turned on and all of a sudden it's just crazy. I think the funniest thing is people walking by me. I've been accused of being a teen. That's okay, because I'm going to be coming up on
Darn.
55. I'm like, darn you. But I've been have that. And people have been asked, are you okay, dear? Are you okay? Because you're losing so much weight. And this is my life. This is exactly what I wanted. And I can't thank you both enough from the bottom of my heart. So, I've been talking about June 1st. June 1st is when I went under the knife, literally. And I remember just Ellen was there, who was one of the nurses who took care of me, and I still contact her. And oh, by the way, there's a surgeon there who is an incredible, accomplished pianist. Because as I was waiting for my dear friend Wendy Wells, she also had the surgery with both of you. We were waiting with her husband, and the surgeon went over and just played, and I put it up on my Facebook, and it got so many hits. So you guys don't just help people lose weight. You just soothe our minds with like this calming music. So I'm like, kudos to him. But I wanted to start off this hour. First of all, thank you both. This summer is better than last summer because I was at my highest. I had, it was from my scale, it was ballooning up to 235. And I remember I went into the office and Megan, you were the first one. I remember I set my appointment with Southern New Hampshire Weight Loss Medical Center, and they said, you're going to be meeting Megan DeSantis. And I was like, okay. And I was in the waiting room and I was all nervous. And then all of a sudden I went into the room and in you came. And from the first word, when you said hello, I just knew this was going to be like it. I knew this was going to be it. How did you know to be so caring? How did you know that this was the profession of your calling?
Oh boy, that's a big question. It was a bit like falling upstairs for me, I would say. Um, I was in graduate school in a research program, and I was doing teaching and a lot of research. And I smelled pizza one day, and as a graduate student, you're poor, so when you smell food, you gravitate toward it. And there was actually a physician assistant. His name was Mark Sullivan. He was giving a talk on his profession to a bunch of pre-medical and pre-PA students. And so I grabbed a slice and I sat in the back, and he was talking about his day, and I thought, wow, this is spectacular. I could do this. So I waited till the end of the talk and everyone left, and I had a second slice of pizza. And then I went up and introduced myself. And he said, yeah, you're the one that walked in late for the pizza. Yeah, I was. And I had a fast friendship with him. He's one of my first mentors as a PA. Went home, talked to my then boyfriend, who is now my husband, applied to a program, didn't expect to get in, got in and said, oh, that's all right. Great, I'll defer and I'll finish my research. And they laughed at me and they said, no, that's not how this works. If you get in, you should accept it because you may not get in again. Oddly, a huge decision, but went really faster than I would have thought. First day in class, I said to myself, wow, this is where I should be. That's how I ended up as a physician assistant. Mark was a mentor and a tormentor through much of my career. Initially, my job was in general surgery and vascular surgery. But as the profession grew and as our practice grew, so did my opportunities to learn new things. As our practice grew and we brought in new surgeons with, advanced skill sets, surgeons like Dr. Catania and those that joined the practice before him, I had opportunity to learn new techniques and minimally invasive surgery, laparoscopy, and robotics. That all kind of came along. And then bariatric surgery became a part of our practice. And initially, PAs didn't help with those procedures. It actually wasn't until Dr. Catania joined our practice that I had the chance to start assisting in the cases. And I loved it. It's a challenging skill set. Taking care of the patients in the hospital was a new challenge and an adventure, and I really enjoyed that. I didn't get to participate in a lot of the preoperative care and postoperative care, and so when I started looking around at my next opportunity, they were building a program, and I thought, okay, this is really what I want to do. And I just sort of banged on the door until I had a job.
That's awesome.
Be a part of the care before and after surgery and really get to follow patients through like yourself. So for me, it's a really a gift, a well-rounded job, and I love it.
I don't even think that you both realize. I mean, yes, I know you go to study to do this because this is your path, right? Your design. But Dr. Catania, I came in and saw you after, and I had in my head, oh, I'm going to do a sleeve. I'm going to do, something simple. And you said, nope, we're going to switch it. We're going to do the robotic gastric bypass. And there were some things that you had seen that I was exhibiting with the migraines. And of course with the sometimes stop breathing in the night. How did you know through your expertise? I mean, do you guys get it? You changed my life for the better, for the most awesome. I mean, I am forever. If you guys haven't caught on now, these two, hello, they're my buds. How did you know?
I mean, first off, I would say that you're doing all the hard work, right? Like Meg and I did, if you put it all together, 10 hours of work. You've done thousands of hours of work, right? So it's not us, it's you, but we appreciate the credit nonetheless. I think what we do as weight management specialists is we give patients tools. And if the patients use those tools, they can be extremely successful. Not every patient uses the tool. Not every patient uses the tool as well as the next patient, right? So some people are just are more inclined to go that extra mile, which is why you've been as successful as you've been, right? So it's not really us, it's you, but you can keep telling us how great we are because we don't mind that at all.
You are.
Yeah, in terms of like how do you know what the patient needs? This is like the first thing you learn in medical school, right? The best way to care for your patient is to care about your patient, right? So if you care about who you're taking care of, you're going to listen to them and you're going to find out what their goals are and what their dreams are and what their hopes are for the surgery or the, whatever weight loss experience they choose. And that's all I did. I just listened to what you told me. And then I said, this is the best way to get what you want. So it's really easy. You just got to listen.
Absolutely. I mean, I have to say, I was telling a friend the other day, I said, my 1 year anniversary is coming up. And I said, I think because a lot of people will go on the diet pills, right? They'll follow the fads. They get all excited. They put all their expectations on that thinking, oh, okay, this is really going to change it for me. And it didn't for me personally. All these different fads and everything, they would fall by the wayside. I was actually taking phentermine for some time. And, my doctor was like, you can't do that anymore. You just can't. So I felt like so in a dire spot because my weight kept ballooning up. I had no motivation. And anytime I tried to work out at home, it was getting really serious. I mean, my health was really getting bad. So what I'm saying is that a lot of people might think, oh, this is just an easy way out. They have no idea how it's not an easy way out. And I do hold you both up because of the fact that you both listened, you both care, you both held my hand literally and figuratively through the steps of what I needed to do. And I still have all my papers from going online, educating myself, getting my certificate. That all leads you up to that big moment. But when it comes to it, we're going to talk about, the pre-op, how it was for me, because let me just be clear. If I had to do this all over again, I would. I know you guys are probably thinking, you're nuts. No, I would. Because between the both of you, Pat, the nutritionist, the caring staff over at Southern New Hampshire Weight Loss Medical Center, they all go hand in hand. That's why I'm super in love with you guys. I am crazy nuts about you guys. So let's talk about the community, because there is a big community. Matter of fact, when I posted, I was telling Megan, I worked out at the gym and it got over 2,300 hits. I've never had anything that was that explosive. I think it's because, like Megan, you were saying, when people see real people attaining real goals, they fight for the underdog. Not that I'm an underdog, but they're seeing progress. What is the feedback? You've got to have the gratification of people coming to you saying, thank you, Megan. Thank you, Dr. Catania, for changing my life. What are some of the greatest moments that you both have experienced from doing this procedure on other patients?
You want to go first, Meg, or you want me to go?
I can go ahead if you like. Honestly, it goes so far beyond the scale. When I see a patient for the first time, I often will ask them, what is something you'd like to see be different about your life? Independent of the scale, I often will say, weight loss is a wonderful side effect. But are there things you'd like to see for yourself? It could be something as simple as a patient sitting there at the table and they cross their legs and I point it out to them. Or someone's excited to show me their collarbones. We had a gentleman that wanted to, was it ride a mule, boss? Yes, to the base of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And he'd never been able to do it because there was a weight limit on it. And he did it, and there was flooding, and his wife decided not to go. And then, we asked him how the experience was, and he said that his bottom hurt after. But those are the kind of things that really thrill me, to hear about people taking risks, doing things that they've never done before, and doing it without fear that they won't be able to do it. Quite often we hear people say they shy away from activities that they used to enjoy or used to do with relative comfort. And now it's walking into the gym, trying a fitness class, shopping for clothes. Those sound like small things to some people, but for many people, those are wonderful off-scale victories. So I love those stories.
Especially the shopping. Me too. How about you, Dr. Catania? What's your favorite part of this?
So I'm gonna give you two favorite parts. One is very medical, and then one is just more personal. So from a medical perspective, the thing that makes me kind of the most amazed and really super grateful that I have the chance to do this is when we work with patients with obesity and diabetes, and I see someone go from using hundreds of units of insulin a day to being completely insulin and medication free and their diabetes in remission. Because I know that person just gained 10 years of life, right? And it's one of the few times when you can say, like, I actually really impacted that person's life in a positive way. So that, from a medical perspective, that's probably the thing that I get the most gratification from. Yeah. But I think the thing I like personally the best is when I bump into patients doing things that I wouldn't have expected them to be doing. And Meg and I used to run a lot of races with our patients. We would set up, like, go to 5Ks and do, what do? We did like the inflatable 5K, and we did the color run. But we did a Tough Mudder one time, and the Tough Mudder wasn't for patients, right? Because a Tough Mudder is a 13-mile run over obstacles and up and down hills. And standing at the starting line, one of my patients, she was post-op about 18 months, was standing next to me at the starting line. We had no idea that we were either of us going to be there. But the fact that this was a person who, a year and a half earlier couldn't climb a flight of stairs, now was going to climb Mount Snow 4 times in the middle of winter. Yeah, it was pretty dramatic, and that just shows you the power of of weight management.
Absolutely. I love that you use that example because I have a dear friend of mine who is a breast cancer survivor. And she always runs, the 5K in Massachusetts and such, but she was also in the Boston Marathon. So I I've been feeling so good and fingers crossed and lots of prayers. I hope to do the Boston Marathon for next year.
Wow.
That's how you guys have changed my life. I'm just like I'm gonna wear pictures of both of you on my shirts. I'm just saying, because I'm just like, you want to know who changed my life, okay? I have been running and I wanted to share that secret. I started running and my husband's just like, who are you? Who are you? And I'm just like, this is what happens when you make that decision and you're educated the way you both and the whole wellness center educated the patients because I took it literally. I'm very linear. When you say, Gail, do this, Gail does this. And by the way, for those of you who come over for dinner thinking you can tempt me and change my ways, it's not going to happen. So just stop. Just stop. I'll fix the dinners, but I don't even have anything. That's what I also wanted to talk about because it's a life-changing game. I know everybody's been, let's talk about this because I know Megan and I were talking about this a little bit. Ozempic. Everybody is thinking that this is the wonder drug of all. I am so glad I did not get on this train. Are there any thoughts that you both would like to pose about Ozempic and anybody who's thinking about it as opposed to, doing the gastric bypass surgery? Because there's pros and cons in all, but that is a risk in its own that I can even see as a patient. What are your thoughts?
Well, so I have two thoughts. I'm going to get on one because something you said earlier, and then I'll address the Ozempic question next. But my first is, exactly what you started with when you said, fad diets never worked for you. Weight loss isn't something that can be achieved with a temporary change, right? The reason that obesity exists is because there are a lot of conditions in our environment that predispose humans living in this century to gaining weight, right? It's some of the medications that we take. It's some of the fact that we're inactive, like we're not hunting and gathering anymore. We don't have to burn calories to do that. Some of it is the availability of easy calories that were never available before. And so you can't just change something for a week or a month and think that you're going to lose weight and keep it off. That it just doesn't work, right? That was the thinking of 50 years ago.
Right.
If you need any proof that it's not true, look at the statistics, right? 78% of adults are either overweight or obese. You have to change your lifestyle, and it's hard to do. And it requires thought, and it requires your constant attention, right? And you've done that. You eat differently than you did. You exercise differently than you did. If you stop doing all those things, all the magic that we helped you do would not be as successful, right? And so it really comes down to understanding that you need to make that lifestyle change. And you don't have to change everything at once. Like nobody's going to tell you, that's it. You're down to an 800 calorie a day diet and you need to be 4 hours in the gym because that's not practical. It has to fit into your life. Yes. But as you find ways to make those positive changes, and the more we educate you, the more of those changes you're going to be able to make, you eventually get to where you are, where, you've made the changes. That's your life. It doesn't feel like you're suffering or struggling or being, punished for trying to maintain your weight. So that's just something that you made me think of earlier when you were talking. In terms of Ozempic, so, it's a very effective weight management drug. It's about half as effective as a gastric bypass. So it works well if you can afford it and if you can get it, and because it's not available in most stores now, it's hard to come by. And you're willing to take it for the rest of your life. You may not know this, but one of the things that we did to you during the surgery was we turned you into a little Ozempic factory. So your body is making GLP-1, which is what Ozempic is, at a much higher rate than it used to, right? So one of the reasons that gastric bypass is effective is we essentially turn your body's natural ability to lose weight on. You know, chemists have figured out ways to create that compound and inject it into you. You just do it yourself. So that's why I still favor surgery over medication.
Yes.
But surgery does come with some risk, right? And you're
Right.
an example of that, right? You had a problem
Yes.
early on in your postoperative course. I don't know if you want to talk about that with people or not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, it was I had a twisted bowel, and I was doing everything correctly, and everything was done correctly to me. And kudos to you, Dr. Catania, because my husband got on the phone and he's like, send her to the hospital. And you put me up in a nice place, and I wanted to stay there. I wanted to stay. I'm just saying, Dan was just like, what? I had my own little private room, but you care so much that you both took excellent care of me. And I remember Megan came in and she's like, what are you doing back? And I was just like, I told you I would do it again if I could. Just kidding. But you took care of me. I mean, even when I had that, it was one of those unforeseen things that happens. It's always explained, which you both did. And I even through all of that, I would do it all again, because you came in, you swooped in, and you just helped me. And I'm back even better before. So yes,
Yeah.
those things happen.
But I think some people, the reason that they prefer medicine is they're worried about the risks of surgery, and the risks of surgery exist. They're low,
Yep.
but they're
Yep.
not zero.
Right.
But the important thing is you work with a team that you feel comfortable with, and a team that's going to pay attention when you say something's wrong, right? And I think that's what probably, of all the things Meg and I are good at, that's probably the thing we're best at. We listen to our patients, and we don't ignore problems.
Nope.
And so that's why I like surgery. And I think even when you add the risks of surgery, if you add the risks of obesity and the risks of the medication that we use to treat obesity, surgery still comes out ahead in that equation. I think it's safer to have surgery, despite the fact that maybe something will happen to you, than it is to remain obese or to be on obesity medications for your life.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. And Megan, did you want to share on that too, as well?
I agree with what he said. I think it's important to give each patient the opportunity to use the tools that they're comfortable with to treat their disease. We are all in this practice open to treating our patients with medicine, with surgery, or neither. It's more of we're meeting them where they're at. What are your goals for you, and how do you feel comfortable trying to get there? We have a lot of patients that will try medical treatment initially, and for any number of reasons decide surgery is the right thing. And I still do feel that is the best option for patients. The results are just wonderful. Not to say patients don't do well on medications, but I think a lot of the concern with the surgeries, as Rob said, is about the potential risks. And most people look at surgery different than we do. They say, well, nothing's broken. I'm not bleeding. I don't have an infection. Whereas we look at this as really a life-saving procedure that we're just doing ahead of schedule. We're improving the next 20 years of your life by subjecting you to this surgery. Now, yes, there's discomfort. Yes, you have to make some lifestyle changes in order to prepare for that. But as you know, we put a lot of time working with you into preparing you for that, making sure you're medically safe, making sure you're educated, and you're ready for the day after the surgery when you open your eyes and start sipping on water again. So I think it's really important to meet patients where they're at, but also educate them in such a way that so they make a decision based on what's best for them, not based on what they're afraid of or not afraid of, what they see online or what their friends tell them is a better option for them. So
absolutely. I was just going to say, there was something that you had said that when it comes to your health and making those decisions, it is so good to have a partnership. And that's what I felt. I have a partnership with the both of you and your entire staff, which helps so much in the decision making, because I know a lot of people can be afraid, as you said, and some people will think, why would you do something so drastic? Because I have done drastic things. I've done things in the past that didn't work for me. So, I see this, it's funny. I made up my mind when I was going to have the surgery that no one would have to poke me to tell me to get out of bed to start walking. I love I wish I had a camera for Dr. Catania's face. Remember when you came to discharge me? He's like, what are you doing?
Yes, I do remember.
And I was just like, I even told Dan, I said, watch this. I'm going to shock him. I went right up to the door and I opened, hi, Dr. Catania. And he says, what are you, what?
I remember the shoes you were wearing. Nobody's ever wearing shoes in the hospital.
See, I had to be the different one, but I made a point. I said, you know something, as soon as they gave me the little plastic thing to breathe for my lungs after the surgery, I was sitting there making sure that ball went all the way up. I'm like, I am not leaving. Don't you worry. I got this. I wound up walking with all the caring staff, the nurses. Oh my goodness. Can I just say the nurses on both the East Wing and the West Wing, they are amazing. If you're going to have this surgery, I mean, honestly, come to Southern New Hampshire Medical Center. Do it with these two. I'm telling you right now, do it with these two, because I can't say it enough. I went in there. I said, I'm going to walk. I remember when I got up, a little bit groggy, but I was like, that's okay. I started with the walker, and then I started with the IV, using that stand, and just got to a point of getting more confident. And you both said the key is keep walking. And this is vital. Can you re-explain and help to re-educate? Because a lot of people, I remember doing laps around my dining room table and telling friends, if you're going to do this, why is it so important? I know, but I just wanted them to hear from both of you.
Meg, you want it or you want me to do it?
I'll do a little and you do a little. How about that?
All right, go for it.
In the hospital, that's the first piece. It's really important that you spend as much time up and walking as you can, working on posture. That's really important. Balance is important. After the surgery, though, also, I always joke with the patients that this is the first time gravity works in your favor in your life. But when you're having difficulty maybe meeting your fluid goals, standing upright or sitting upright and taking a walk really does help. Physiologically, it helps to lower your diaphragm, so taking a deep breath is a little bit easier. We know that the more you move, it also stimulates your gut motility, so that helps get things moving in that department a lot faster as well. Coughing and deep breathing, same thing, it reduces your risk for pneumonia. You don't want to get a pneumonia after surgery because that leads to coughing, and no one wants to cough when they have incisions. Right. So the more moving you do early on, even though you're sore, even though you're tired, even though you're nauseous, once you get up and moving, most patients say, I just feel a lot better. And so I think the inpatient portion and that focus on walking is really important for those reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, and the bottom line for all of it, I agree with everything Megan said, but the bottom line is people do better who walk more, right? And it prevents other complications. In the very, very early days of bariatric surgery, and I'm talking, back when we were doing open surgery 30 years ago, people would lay in bed for 3, 4, 5 days, and they would not be able to get out of bed after that period of time because they would develop pain, their lungs would collapse a little bit, they would get pneumonias, they would get blood clots in their legs. All kind of bad things happen to you when you're in the bed for a long time, particularly after surgery, because surgery stimulates a whole bunch of inflammation in the body. And so by getting up and getting moving, you basically prevent all of those things from happening. And by not letting a cascade sort of develop, you prevent all the potential downsides of that cascade. So you lessen the inflammation, you lessen the blood clot risk, you lessen the pneumonia risk. You move the gut along more quickly, and it just gets you closer to getting out the door, which is, everybody's goal after surgery.
And the other benefit of the walking is that your spouse will also get involved, and it really helps your marriage.
Yeah.
Because I have to tell you, now Dan is following the guidelines that I'm doing, that I buy for my own meals and stuff. He's doing it. He's walking with me all the time. And sometimes we work at home, sometimes we're going to our different offices. But I'm just wondering, because you flipped on a switch, not only do I go walking, but even after this interview, I'm going to be doing my exercises because I have a whole workout. So I go to the gym. So people are like, what is going on with you? They've never seen me like this. So I went walking all today. I did 2 miles. Thank you very much. And then I said, but I still have to keep going. And this is just me. Do you find other patients who are so excited to get up and motivated like they weren't before? Because I must have been a slug when you met me. So unmotivated.
I can't picture that ever being the case.
Yeah, I don't think you were ever a slug, but you're definitely more motivated now than you were before. Yeah, people find things in their world that makes them happy, right? And it's different for everybody, but one common denominator for a lot of people in the Western world is eating makes them happy, right? And that's not an accident. It's been designed into our food. The food scientists over the last 50 years, really going back to World War II, have worked to make our foods more and more tasty, which is why we use so much salt in everything, and more addictive. So that's why we use a lot of high fructose corn syrup and everything. And some of our foods are actually even hunger inducing, but you eat because it makes you feel good. When we take that away from people, they need to find something else that makes them feel good. And it can be any of a million things. Some people turn to crafting, or some people turn to knitting. Some people turn to activity, and you've found way to bring joy into your life by being active. And there's really nothing better from our perspective than that, because you're keeping yourself healthy and you're keeping yourself happy. So, I mean, I can't really ask for more.
Well, I'm super excited about it, and I'll tell you. So this is another part. It's the foods, because that's okay. We've got this record. You okay, my dear? Because I'll come through the screen and do the Heimlich. You good? I want to make sure she's okay.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Oh, good. So as we go through the past, when you start eating and you graduate, like I said, I'm a stickler. So I now have a night regime too. So I will have my teas, but I also make sure that everything that I have my cutoff time. Everything has to be done by 8 o'clock. All my meals, everything. I do not cheat. I do not have a desire after that. That's it. And I will have, especially now where it's getting warm, I have my trusty mug. I have 3 of these. See? Dan's like, could you really? But I have 3 of these because it is important to stay hydrated, as you both have said. I noticed traveling, I pack my foods also. And you'll be very proud of me, because in January, when my company was going for an event, everybody was meeting down into the restaurant. I was taking my little packets, my Very Wise packets. And they're like, well, can't you eat? And I'm like, of course I can eat. I'm just not going to eat what you're eating, because I saw some people turning gray. They could have used you guys there. So I was like, no, I'm good. But, keeping that regime of healthy eating, there's a community also where we do a swap of recipes. So I know Dr. Catania used to on WMUR, had a wonderful summer treat. So I wanted to find out, what are your favorite treats that you have, and that you also give to the patients, because I also wanted to say, for my teas, I put in my Crystal Light, so I don't use any of the sugars at all. And, it's really, really good. Oh, and a drop of mint. Yes, I'm déclassé. But any ideas?
So I'm a big fan of things based in beans and peas that are vegetables that you can make into things like hummus, because you want something that's got complex carbohydrates and proteins. And so, one of the things I love making is hummus, because you can put anything into it, right?
You make hummus?
Yeah, I'll make you some.
See, you are incredible. You and Dan have been doing hummus, so yours is probably better than his, but that's okay. So
I don't know. But you can put anything you like into it, right?
I love it.
So if you like peppers, put peppers in. If you like garlic, put garlic in it. So that's one of my favorites. But I'm also a big fan of animal proteins, right? So I do a lot of grilling, and I think There's a lot of healthy foods that can be prepared on the grill.
Yes.
So yeah, the problem with all of eating healthy is it takes time, right? Because you have to spend the time to make it. So you have to make the time to create that food. But if you do that, you're going to be so much better off.
Yes. Yes. That's a great thought, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was preparing all of my stuff. So dancing. Are you serious? What say you, Megan? What are some recipes that you'd like to share?
Well, I am not a spectacular cook, and fortunately, I married someone that is. But I have a thing for protein shakes, and we're all kind of on this overnight oats kick right now too. But I love I love my coffee in the morning. It's my ritual. It's been my
Yep.
lifelong thing. But I love changing it up by putting my protein shake in it. That is,
Yes.
I have a frother. I froth my Fairlife protein shake before I put it in my coffee in the morning. I love that. Since working in our practice, I've always been sort of focusing on practicing what I teach. I've rediscovered my love for fruits and vegetables. Rob will tell you I run through the office giving people fruit and telling them it's nature's candy.
Nature's candy.
I love it.
I love it.
I have, and I'm not, like I said, I'm a baker and I enjoy those things, but a lot of times, yes, you want something sweet, but you want it to be healthier. So something as simple as taking bananas out of the freezer after I've sliced them and mashing them up. I love the cocoa roast almonds. They're like peanut M&Ms for me. I put them on top of that.
Oh my
I throw it all in a smoothie. Anything with peanut butter or PB2 butter powder.
Yes.
Marvelous.
I just got that. I just new to
Mhm.
the PB2. I'm such a fan. I was even next to you. I'm like, this is better than your peanut butter. You need to eat this.
Yeah.
It's like,
My peanut butter is
wow.
better than your peanut butter. I love it.
See? That's right.
I have to take a 2-second timeout. I'm on call and I just got a call.
Yes.
So I'm just
Please.
I don't go away. I'll be right back. This should only
Nope.
take me a minute or two.
We will still be here for you.
All right.
Absolutely. We're going to still be talking about recipes, because I found out the recipe that I have. So the protein shake,
Mhm.
I have the Berry Wise protein cereals. They're like little Cheerios.
Oh, they're
So I
good.
put that in with that. Let me tell you,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, nobody could take away my breakfast, because I've tried the protein pancakes. They're a little bit dry, and I've tried to put the PB2 in there, and I've even tried to put something, I've put a little Crystal Light in there to give it the sweetness. I do weird
Oh, good
stuff,
idea. Yeah, absolutely.
kick it up. And my husband Dan was just like, "What is this?" So when I try to get him, because when I fix it, I'm hoping that it rubs off on him, because he used to be a chef.
Mhm.
So for friends and everybody watching, we've been trying to do like a community swap of recipes.
Love it. Yeah.
So I have been sticking close to now I just get into having different grains. And for me, it has been a gradual thing. So with that said, everybody's different, right? So but I'm understanding, like, some people after they have the surgery, I don't understand. And I'm not trying to poo-poo, because you can do whatever you want to do. I know I can't, even if I have cucumbers or tuna fish on crackers, I can only eat 3. That fills me so much.
Right.
I don't know how people can have the heavy pizza and stuff. I haven't touched pizza in a year. I haven't gone to a fast food drive-through in a year. I have been to the book, to the book. So how it's got to be different for others when they're doing that, right?
Yeah, not all patients have the same experience. The initial hormone changes from the surgery for many patients reduce hunger and cravings. We
Yeah.
counsel people to be very cautious about their food choices immediately after surgery, because as you've learned, and we teach you, a number of foods can be dangerous. Eating
Yeah.
certainly foods like that, because they'll sort of expand and cause discomfort. Anything that's very high in simple sugars will cause your blood sugar to go up quickly and then crash thereafter. We call that dumping
Yeah.
syndrome, and that makes people feel pretty awful too.
Yep.
But people's palates change after these surgeries, and so they find themselves trying different foods.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the fullness that some people experience doesn't last forever, but quite often this is a great opportunity for people to sort of hit the reset button in
Yeah.
their relationship with food. We kind of give you nice boundaries to stay within, but then for many people, as we gradually release some of those, you start to try new things. Things that
Right.
you never thought were appealing before are now appealing. And so that's a wonderful opportunity. Like you'd said, to sort of rediscover some of your likes and expand your horizons when it comes to your nutrition choices. Carbs in particular are something that get a bad rap.
Yeah.
You know, many of our
Yeah.
patients are terrified of trying them again. And I think that the best way to combat that is with education. And
Yeah.
we have wonderful dietitians, as you know, in our practice that help with the education piece,
Right.
trust, and then also understanding that carbohydrates are an essential part of our diet. They are fuel. We need it.
Right. Yes.
You're feeling tired at the end of the day, protein is really important, but also ensuring you've fueled your body with complex carbohydrates. And so I just tell people, test it slowly. Know that we're here for you. If you start to experience weight gain or you feel like you're struggling, the beauty of the relationship we have with our patients and patients like you is that we have the opportunity to check in regularly and make sure you're walking the path and that you have the support you need to. Um, but yes, I
Yes.
think rediscovering food and looking at it differently has got to be an exciting and somewhat nerve-wracking experience too.
Yes.
Fair to say?
Yes. Absolutely. Especially when I go out, because I'm thinking of the wedding. I don't care about the food or anything like that because that's not going to bother me. I mean, I'll probably I know my go-to is going to be my little salad and stuff, and that's why I'm bringing Dan because Dan can clean the plate and that'll be good. We'll be good. But I don't get into the pressure of the food doesn't speak to me. I speak to the food.
Mhm.
That's what's changed. I said, nope, no, thank you. Or I'm full, thank you. It's not like I have to have it because I think about what it was before. And plus my little pouch is like, are you serious? Come on.
Yeah.
Like you are not going to do this to me again. And and so people are now, I think they they don't understand or they may think that I'm being extreme. Well, I'm being extreme because I've lost two brothers, one to sickle cell disease and another one to renal carcinoma cancer. So obviously there's something brewing in my genes, but I feel if they were here, they would hug me and say, "Good job, well done for researching, doing what you needed to do to make your life better." And I that's how I feel. And I bring it back to and thank also the community of those in the bariatric community who have reached out to me personally. You've encouraged me, and I send all my love to you all um, because we're actually going to try and start a walking group at Benson's.
Wonderful.
And we would love to have you and Dr. Catania with us side by side going through there because it just it's one thing to do something, but it's another thing of how this has disciplined me personally. And I take my health now on a whole new level. It's yes, the clothes are great. I mean, to have something to get us small. The last time I was a small one was when I was a baby. That's when I was a small. So things have changed. But now that I can order it, it's like I was even telling Megan, I'm going to be going to a wedding soon, a dear friend of mine. And all of you know my former co host, Augustine Rodriguez. He is getting married to Gisele. So we cannot wait to be there in New York for you guys. But I ordered like 4 different dresses. And as soon as they came, I must have shrunk even more because I was just like, okay, what am I going to do? But you get creative. Um, and your whole world changes. But what doesn't change is that I have made this my life mission now. I'm like, oh my goodness, if I wasn't doing my job that I love and doing this, I'd be like, hey, do you think I can go over there? Because I would love to meet everybody in the door and go, you need to do this.
You've
This is
added
incredible.
you've added
Oh,
mindfulness to every part of your life. And I think mindfulness and balance, I think, are two very difficult things to find in life. We are constantly overstimulated from the world around us.
yes.
And I think for many patients, and you're a perfect example of this, is you make a choice. You made a choice to have the surgery. You made a choice to prepare yourself for it. You make a choice every time you pack your lunch, every time you put on an outfit, every time you go to the gym when you perhaps are tired and would rather take the day. But I think that
Yeah.
when you live your life with purpose and you make mindful choices, you make the most out of opportunities. And that really is, when I say you're a lighthouse for other patients, I really do mean that, because you share all of your story, even the bumpy pieces. If you tell someone that something is, like we said, sunshine and roses the entire time, anyone worth their salt is going to know you're not telling the
Right.
whole story. That when you
Yes.
tell the whole story and you give your perspective and you give it without holding back, you're giving someone else a chance to think about it for themselves.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think
And
that's,
thank you so much, Megan, because this is why I love her. This is why, if you were going to do this, you're going to be intercepted by Megan. And, as a physician's assistant, and I do apologize because I think I said patient, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I meant physician's assistant. But you help not only to educate, but motivate, because you hit it on the head when you talk about there are some days I am so tired, but I say to myself, okay, I know that if I get out there and if I walk at least, not even talking about running, not even talking about going to the gym. At least I make an effort out there in society to say, I'm going to do my part, which is for me. I feel 1,000 times better.
without,
And right,
yep.
I feel 1,000. And plus, if you have eaten something, and sometimes if you sit too long and you get to that dumping syndrome, walking has been my go-to for everything. So even if I'm tired and I feel that pain, I'm like, uh-oh, I did it. I had, one, the tuna, and that's what I've tried to figure out what settles well. But when I have the tuna on the crackers, sometimes I have to take that slow. So reintroducing the foods, I'm big on. I think I've turned into a vegan. I have to tell you, because I have a lot of plant-based. The chicken, Dan's like, this isn't chicken. Give me some real chicken. Like it's chicken to me. I mean, it's really really good, and I've learned to do like the plant-based meatballs. But I have to break those up. So it's like an adventure, because you both given me a new lease on my life, because I'm 54. My mom at this age, my mom was over 245. She was 245. And I looked at all my family members in all of their sickness and in health. My brothers with their sickle cell disease, my other brother with the renal carcinoma, cancer. Dan would even tell you, I'd be like, okay, my days are numbered. And to have this, I mean, God only knows what our future really holds. I have my faith and I believe in the fact that, God protects and whatever's going to happen. But to give me this opportunity to breathe again, I haven't had a migraine since I've had the surgery.
It's one of the really neat things. I never promise that to patients because it's not universal, but
Right?
very frequently patients with migraines after the weight loss, they go away or they get much less frequent or much less intense. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed you stay that way.
It has been, and I notice if I try to add like a little bit of salt or sugar, yes, I'll get a headache, and I'm like, there we go. But I have been very strict, and this is a life-changing decision. There is no doubt. So when the patients go through, the post-op, and I will be seeing you soon for my 1 year anniversary. Woohoo! I'm going to
And I
bring the
might have
balloons.
something special for you when you come in for your 1 year anniversary too.
See, this is why I love you guys. You guys give me gifts anyways. It's the gift that keeps on giving anyway. So, I mean, I'm setting these goals, but thank you so much. And I just wanted to leave with both of you, a lot of the patients. There was one patient who let me know she had the surgery that you both performed. She loves you both. She said, "Aren't they angels?" And I'm like, "They're mine." So just remember that. All right. I'm nice until you mess with my angels. All right. I'm just saying. But you have such a community of so many who applaud you, who thank you, who you have changed our lives. And to keep saying, it, it may be redundant, but for people who don't realize, when you get into that point in your life that you have been born into a family who have health challenges and you're looking at your options, take it serious. And you can definitely talk to their caring staff at the Southern New Hampshire Weight Loss Medical Center. Though they, from everyone greeting you at the front door all the way until you get into Megan, and when you get to Dr. Catania, nothing changes. It's the same all the time. They truly care about your health, your well-being, and they are your advocates. So when you're thinking about, should I do this? I have had people call me, text me, and I said, I'm not a professional. These two are. I just play one. That's it. But I mean, I I would love to do a little bit more. We're going to try and see if we can expand this health minute of going into the office with Dr. Catania and with Megan, and obviously showing you a day in the life, but also just showing you their caring staff, because this isn't a cell. This is your life, and this is how these two have changed mine. And I am so excited, and I'm having more people who are asking me about the surgery. So I'm going to be having a lot more referrals coming to your way. Just saying.
You're our spokesmodel.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I couldn't be more proud to be a spokesmodel and to take what you've taught me and to keep doing it, because it has really, really been a game changer. And every year on the anniversary, even with the friends that I have, not only are we doing the walks, oh yeah, Dr. Catania, you came back. I was telling Megan, there's a group of us now that are building up and wanting to walk over at Benson's, which is close by. So we would love to have you guys come whenever you can, because the community is building. And I never realized the gastric bypass community is the most caring and loving community, seriously, because they know what it's like. We know what it's like to have been shunned. We know what it's like to have desperate measures. We know what it's like to feel like there's no hope for me, but there is, and it's with both of you. So there is a lot more that we're going to be doing, and a lot more of the health changes that we're going to be talking about. But anything that you would like to leave as final thoughts, because I'm going to come into the office and I can't wait.
All right, I got a couple of final thoughts. So there,
Yes.
there's some statistics that I use when I'm talking to patients that I think are helpful to help people make the decision that they should have surgery to lose weight. And those are, one, if you have obesity and type 2 diabetes and you undergo weight loss surgery, you will live on average 10 years longer than if you did not have the surgery. And that's based on a lot of the things that you pointed out earlier. It makes cancer less likely. It makes heart attacks less likely. It makes kidney disease less likely, right? So it's not just the weight that's causing people to lose their lives early. It's the side effects of the weight on the other organs that causes people to die young. Obesity is a killer of young people. If you don't have type 2 diabetes, but you just have obesity, you're likely to live 7 years longer than if you didn't have the surgery, right? So those are the two, probably the big numbers that I use when I'm trying to explain to somebody why I think it's most important for them to have surgery. But really, the best argument at all is you. Why should you have surgery? Because it makes your quality of life better, right? And
Yes.
it's very esoteric to think, oh, I'll live 10 years longer. But what does that really mean? What matters is, how are you living today? And I think one of the things that a lot of people are afraid of, or that I hear a lot, is, I can't live like that. I can't eat just small amounts. I can't do this. I can't exercise all the time. You can.
You can.
And not only
Yes,
can
you
you,
can.
you feel good doing it. And
Yep.
so it's not that we're trying to trade like torture for years of life. We're trying to give you joy and add years
Yes.
of life,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so that's where you come in, because I think that's, what the message that needs to get out there is, like, you can have this surgery and live a great life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Megan, what's your final thoughts?
I'm just grateful that I have an opportunity to be a part of this. As physician assistants, the career has definitely grown for me. But it's really nice to be part of a group that has a culture like ours. I think it's really very fortunate to be there for patients to watch them make these major changes. I am always in awe of the courage that our patients have. That first visit is often very emotional, and I am honestly honored to be a part of that. You know, to share that part of your life, food and emotion, self-esteem. Those are all so intimately connected. So you to walk in a room with a complete stranger and talk about things that personal, I am overwhelmed by the confidence that our patients have, and nothing makes me happier than to see their lives change and to watch them reach goals that they've set for themselves, either on the scale or off the scale. So, to be honest, as long as you let me keep doing this, I'm going to keep doing it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And we definitely want to have you both continuing to do this because you're changing lives. Mine is a full example of that. And I am so excited to have Dr. Rob Catania and physician assistant Megan DeSantis joining me from Southern New Hampshire Weight Loss Medical Center in Nashua, New Hampshire. And if you are seriously looking to make a change with your health, there's nothing wrong with getting on the site, at least taking the education and looking at it, talking with others. You know, I know you guys have been reaching out to me and I'm super, super grateful, but this isn't a gimmick. This is a real thing. This is my life. And any of you who've known me personally, you've known the heartbreak that I've gone through, you know that the struggles that I've gone through, you know, to the point of where I'm just like, I don't know what else to do. And I'm so grateful that and honored to have Dr. Rob Catania and Megan in my life. They are my angels. And I'm not sharing. I'm just telling you, okay, you get in there and do your surgery and give them back to me. I love you both. You are incredible. And I will see you soon, Dr. Catania. I'll be in the office and I hope Megan will be there. Yes.
She's almost always there, so hard to keep her away.
Awesome. Awesome. Because I have a gift for both of you both. So see?
Oh, there
Big
you go.
gift giver.
Back at you.
I want to thank you all for tuning in. I know some of you said that you were going to be watching, you have questions. Well, that's another place. Before I let you both go, where can people send their questions who are looking at this show and want to get more education from both of you?
So we have an email address. It's just the word weight and then the word management all squished together. So weight management at snhhs.org. So if you just send a question to weight management at snhhs.org, you will get us.
Straight from the doctor. There you go. Perfect. Thank you both so, so much for joining me again. And make sure that you tune in every month because I will have them by my side and we'll be bringing to you more about the different changes, the outcomes, the exciting news, anything that they have in their camp to share with you and to let you know that this is the best thing you could ever do for yourself. And I'm telling you. So there.
There you go.
Thanks so much for joining.